Hi everyone, this is Carolyn. I'm not sure if this is filming. I'm hoping it is. I'm going to show you guys how I go about making my iron-on my shirts like I showed you in my Lego shirt. This one I'm going to make a fall pumpkin with a crazy face. So what I'm going to do is open up my Silhouette Studio. It's already open because I'm working on one and I just thought about I forgot I told you guys I was going to record it. So this is how I actually do the going about cutting it out. What I do is I open up my design studio and whatever I'm going to cut out. And I'm going to cut out this crazy faced pumpkin because this is my son and my nephew to a T. I'm making Leah's kind of like this. These are my initials. But I made Leah's, hers is a girly one like this. So I wanted to make the boys something funny that describe them. So what I do is I go ahead and size it to the size I want. And what I typically do, I don't know if this is right, but this is what works for me in the last few times that I've made these shirts. I go from the front, the collar, where it's actually sewn on there, you know, the rough part of your collar right under your throat. From that bottom stitch, I start 3 inches down. So 3 inches down is where I have my, like, here's your collar, just say right here, this red line. 3 inches down is where I start my stem. So what I'm going to do is before I separate these into individual pieces, I'm going to right click it and flip horizontally. You need to make sure you flip your design, because if you do not flip your design, when you cut it out, it will not work. It'll look funny. In the case of this pumpkin, I don't think it would look bad, but I like it the other way. But if I was to say I was to do this and I cut it out, the way the iron-on, the HTV vinyl is, it will not work. So if I put it on there, this would be like where the C's at, and the C would be where the J's at, and the L would be backwards. So make sure anytime you're doing it, you just take it and you flip it horizontal. And then when you go to iron it, it'll be on the right way. I'm going to leave that one like that so I'll remember. Sometimes I forget. And then what I'm going to do is, since I've already sized mine up, I'm doing mine 4.640 by 5.120. I'll just play around with the sizes. I'm going to ungroup them. You can either right click and ungroup, or you can hit this little ungroup button. And that's what I do. Then I drag it off. Take my white eyeballs off first. And my green stem. And then I put this up there and I cut it out, which I have already done, which you will see in the video, next. And then after I cut it, I just drag it off, and I don't delete it in case I mess it up and burn it or whatever. And then I'm going to put my orange on here, and I'm going to cut my orange out, and then my green, and then my white. And then when I cut, you're going to hear my machine. When I cut it, what I do is go up here, and in my settings, there's one that says heat transfer material, smooth or flocked. I use the smooth. And then I bump up the thickness on mine, because I've noticed that if I go too thin, it doesn't cut through for me. And depending on how delicate your thing is how you adjust it. So you just do it however you want to do it. And I'm using a cutting mat, which should be on there. So yeah, that's how you do that. So I'm going to take you over to my table area and show you how I iron it on. Okay, I'm going to show you this really quick because I forgot to show you. On your cutting mat, when you go to do your iron-on, if you can see that, that's really glossy. And then this is kind of a dull side. It is when you're actually looking at it, and on the camera it may not be showing up like that. But this side is really glossy. You want to put the shiny side down, because the shiny side has this, like, film protected that you can see right here. So what I was telling you is if you cut it out the wrong way, when you go to iron it, it will not work. So you're going to iron over this protective covering. So make sure that you put glossy side down, because you want to put your paper like that. Okay, I'm cutting out the pumpkin, the orange pumpkin, the green stem, and the white eyeballs. Okay, I wanted to show you this as well. When you go to cut out, once you've cut out your image, you cannot tell just looking at it, probably from your angle. You might be able to see a faint line. Sometimes you can't even hardly see the line, but it's there. So what I do is find the tip, and I always do this on my mat so that I know it's on there. And this vinyl, if you work with vinyl, this vinyl is not like your standard vinyl that I cut out for my cups and things like this. This vinyl is not sticky. So you can pull, twist, and pretty much not get, you know, it may not. I've never had an issue with it tearing. But you see, it's not sticky. The sticky thing is this. This is sticky. Just the plastic. You see it sticking to my finger. The actual vinyl is not sticky. I mean, you see me, because you're going to iron it on this way. So I'm going to show you one more time with that in case you didn't catch it. You don't have to, you want to make sure your plastic stays down. That's why I have to get something, you know, pointed to get started. When you start tearing, I mean, you see me, I'm bending, pulling, not having any issues. I've got my iron heating up while I'm doing this, and it is heating on the cotton setting. You do not want any steam, so make sure it's not on the steam setting because you'll mess up your vinyl. You want it on, I'm just using a regular iron. A lot of people use heat presses, but I've just got really into this, so I'm not buying a heat press unless I, you know, start making tons of shirts. And iron works good. You just have to be able to put your body weight into the iron to be able to push it down good. I've already washed my shirts. I pre-washed all my clothes because I don't ever put my kids or myself in brand new clothes. I don't like that feeling. So I washed all my clothes in our homemade detergent that I use. And like I said, my iron is heating up on the cotton setting, so it's on one of the hottest settings while I'm doing this. So I'm going to finish cutting all this out, and then I'll meet you back. Okay, now I'm going to iron them down. What I did before, I'm not going to do it because I already have this one centered, is I just run my iron over the whole shirt. No images on there. Just iron the whole shirt. And I'm sorry if it's kind of dark because I don't have a light, because I've got my iron plugged up, my camera charging while I'm filming, my computer, and my Cameo. So it's amazing I haven't blew a fuse yet. But I just, you know, ran over the shirt like you would iron your normal clothes. And then what I did was I took my ruler, and here's the shirt, the collar I was talking about. If you look, there's a seam on these. I got these at AC Moore. There's a seam right below it. From there, I take my ruler, and mine's a little higher. It's normally a 3-inch, but with these shirts, I went ahead and did like a 2.5, somewhere in there. So I went ahead and laid it down. Now the shiny side goes up. The shiny side's down when you iron. I mean, when you cut, but when you iron, you want it shiny side up because you're going to iron over this plastic. If you do it that way, you're going to burn it. So you can use a Teflon mat, but I have a friend that makes these for her business, makes shirts, and she said she doesn't use a Teflon mat. She just uses parchment paper. So I've got parchment paper. You can use a thin piece of fabric if you have it. You just don't want to put this iron directly on that image because you will melt it. So I have it here. Now what you're going to do is, it's hot. Mine's just the standard Sunbeam old iron. I mean, this thing is old. And I don't iron unless I really have to. But it's on dry. I have no steam going because you do not want the steam. Now what you're going to do is you need to read your HTV directions. This one is the scissor or the sizer easy weed, something like that. And it calls for 15, I think it's like 15 seconds every time you do it. So, and you need to keep up with where you're doing it. Now you're going to hear me count out loud. You can set a timer, whatever. But when you do it, you're going to want to put your body into it, because if you just stick it there, it's not going to do it, because you're having to press it into this fabric. So that's what I'm going to do. You're going to hear me counting, and I might speed the video up just for this part. So I'm going to put it here so I know it's there. And I'm going to put my weight. Do not slide it around on the thing. You just want to stick it on there. Push. Now, you take that up and you can look. You probably can't see it. You might. But right here is where I've pushed. So I'm going to do it on this side now because this side's not stuck. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. 1:15. And then this one particular says you can take it off while it's still hot. So I can do that, and I can tell that my stem's not wanting to come up. So I'm going to go ahead and do 15 more seconds on that stem. 1, 2, 3, 4. And pull it off. There we go. Now, if you're finished, if that's all you're going to do is just put a brown pumpkin on there, then what you can do is put your Teflon sheets back, your whatever you're covering it with, and push it down again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I'm not. I'm just showing you. I did that, but I'm not. If that makes sense. Now I've got to put on my other piece. So this one has to be centered. So I'm going to take this and put it right there. And it's hot. I mean, it's hot. The good thing about this is if you need to, like I didn't show you this because I already had it down, but the brown, if you need to pick it up and do like, I can't show you, it's hard to show you. If you need to pick it up and do like that to see if it's straight or whatnot, you can do that. Because like I said, the plastic piece is sticky. So I'm going to put my sheets back on there and I'm going to do it again. But I've got to be careful because you've got that brown already done. And just see if you can peel it up. If any of it sticks, don't try to just rip it up because you'll rip it. Just stick it back down, the top back down, and just keep ironing it. Simple. Now I'm going to put my stem on. Make sure if you're doing this, you see this part's not covered, make sure your iron's not sitting on it because you will melt it. Sometimes I've used a Cricut vinyl to make the Lego shirts. It says you have to do it when it's cool. You cannot do it while it's hot. So that means you cannot pull off this plastic while it's hot. So make sure you read your directions because I would hate for you to mess it up. The whole sheet over it so that I don't mess around and burn my pumpkin. And then I have to get my tweezers because it's so stinking up. When you're doing that small of a piece, it's hard to get it off. Okay, so there we go. Now, if you are like me, I got all my plastic pieces off, and I'm just going to take my iron and I'm just going to go over it, all of it.